No. That's 11 more registrations.
Oh, okay.
At $150 a piece, we need 10 of them to make $1,500.
Okay.
So 11 would put us over it. So. And then we owe $1,800 on the 19th of October, which is like 3 days before the thing, I think.
If we don't have that money by then, we're in trouble anyway.
Yeah. And like I said, there isn't going to be a Keystone this year, which is supposed to be next week. SCC is not going to have theirs this year, which is the only one that's actually close to ours. So we shouldn't have a problem filling this small amount of people that we need. Any questions on this?
I'd like to acknowledge that this just gives us a great opportunity to do something. I think we really need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, you mean by the conference itself? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's a big need, not just here now, but everywhere. We might be able to really do well.
Yeah. All right. Vendors, we have none, zero, nada. And I'm not sure why.
Have we asked?
Do what?
Have we asked vendors?
Somebody in Atlanta's going to have to do it. If I ask the vendor here, they're going to say no because it's 100 miles away. I don't see why somebody wouldn't want to do it. It's not costing them anything. Any money they make, they keep. I mean, we're providing them with the attendees. All they got to do is set up shop.
Well, my question, Tony, is this: do we have somebody out of the planning group that is actively looking for vendors?
I have a potential makeup vendor that I've been talking with. She's a business owner in downtown Noonan that she wants to help support us, but I haven't been able to approach her lately.
Makeup would be the one to look for, I'm sure. Dr. Don is supposed to be doing this. He's the vendor chair, but I haven't heard from him in a while. I don't know.
Well, listen, with the way it's been, I mean, we can go another month. If we haven't heard from him, then we need to do something.
Yeah. And I told him right across the street, there's a fingernail manicures place. I'm sure they'd be willing to send somebody over. I mean, I just don't get it.
There's a problem sometimes with anything to do with nails because of the fumes that are involved.
Yeah, the smell sometimes is a problem. Yeah, but now they could do it out of their room.
Now this is where I'm gonna show my ignorance out of transgender needs. Would there be people there that needed to get their hair cut or styled?
A wig person would be very, very important. Not so much hair, because anybody who's to the point where they're out using their own hair, they're already going to places getting it done. But for the cross dressers to get their wig styled, yeah, that's a big deal.
And even sell wigs.
Well,
I would like to say that I would use a hairstylist there because I don't know how to do a lot of my hair stuff that I want done. So it would be something I would use.
Well, I'm not sure I want Tony anywhere near anybody with a pair of scissors. I know a couple of people in the industry that I can talk to and see what they think, and I'll let you guys know.
BT has a question about what about Thea?
Thea doesn't exist. Thea died. Made a really dumb decision that killed Thea.
I'm sorry to bounce in here, but I didn't have any sound for the longest period of time. But I would like to know what's happening with the 503.
We haven't gotten an answer back yet.
Okay.
So it's still up in the air. I'm gonna see if I can't find somebody at the IRS I can talk to, but like Pastor Paul said, it's probably chaos down at the IRS right now.
I think
There was a discussion about finding a sponsor for the 501c3, but we didn't pursue that train of thought.
You know, I thought that once we had that number, that it will be relatively easy to get some sponsors from the docks. You know, small amounts. It wouldn't have to be $5,000, $10,000, but a lot of those people are more than willing to support a new conference, especially since Keystone and the other conferences are not going to happen this year.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to say is, you mentioned vendors are relatively easy to get as long as you have a place for them to be. I listened to the thing you said about manicure. That person is notoriously hard to get. I had a heck of a time when I was running the vendors for Southern Comfort, and that was the most difficult one to get a hold of. And there's probably still a lot of other people who were at Southern Comfort who would like to come back to a new conference in the Atlanta area. I'd be happy to contact them once I saw what kind of a space we have in the hotel.
You mean for the vendors?
Yes.
We have a space at, I'm going to say we could fit 15 tables, but to keep it safe, we're going to say 10. And it's connected right to the ballroom, literally.
Okay. And I think probably the vendor, once you have a pretty good venue set up, that the vendors would like to come, but I probably would hesitate to asking any of them to come until closer towards the spring, when I have something more concrete to offer them.
That makes sense.
And you know, I don't need to do it for free. I mean, small little thing for the table with a $50 or $25 or something like that for the first year, I think would be entirely appropriate.
Well, a couple meetings back, it was suggested that the vendors attend for free, and the board agreed to it. So
No, you're missing an opportunity to make some money. That's
I
what
understand what you're saying, but we already decided we're just going to do it free this first year. So
We can ask the vendors. I mean, I get the point that you're making. We can ask the vendors to make a donation. You know, hey, this is free, but if you want to wet our beak a little bit, you know, to help us, that would be really kind. And my guess is we'll get some money out of that.
well, you know, we could sell spots in the brochure to the vendors.
Oh, you mean like advertising?
Yeah. Don't know how our brochure is going to look. I'm assuming it's going to be similar to the first one that Peach State did, which is really not a whole lot. But if every attendee gets one, that's something that, you know, vendor might want to look into.
I think this is kind of a unique opportunity for the Paradise Conference to assume some of the leadership of, unfortunately, the coronavirus has kind of taken away from Keystone, and of course, the one in Florida won't be happening this year. So I look at it as a very nice opportunity to assert the presence of this conference.
I agree with it completely. I think that we could probably utilize that to help market Paradise Conference and do something about coronavirus and LGBT community.
Are we done with this slide?
Sure.
Presenters. We have one new presenter that I sent out to the board. I think it was Laura Meeks. Still short on presenters, but We have, I think, 5 hours now. So we have 32 hours left for presenters. Anybody that you know that might want to present, they need to get it in.
What's the rush on that, Tony? I mean,
Well, it's just the only rush is the more people that, you know, if we start getting the names now, if we get enough names to fill the 3 meeting rooms now, then they're not going to have any room, or we're not going to have any room. You know, once it fills up, we can't kick somebody out to put somebody else in. There's no
Right.
big rush right now. It's just like the vendors. There's no real rush, but we do want to get those names on there. We also want to be able to put that out that these people are presenting at the conference to help
Yeah.
the register.
okay, that makes sense.
You know, so far I don't know any of these people. Well, I know Miss Reynolds, and I've met Katie. I don't know Laura Meeks, but if you get some big names on here, or you know, some big name presenters to come, that helps draw people in.
Who's taking care of getting those names?
We don't have anybody.
I don't think we've been kind of working that at least here in the beginning as kind of a group effort. We don't
Yeah.
have anybody in charge.
Carissa was going to do it, but don't think she's had time.
Carissa is currently sick right now. She's got upper and lower respiratory infection, not corona, but she's not feeling well. It hasn't been for last week.
Yeah, I know. I talked to her. But like I said, there's no real big hurry. It's just the bigger, the more well-known the presenters are, the better our chances of getting people to come attend.
Right. Got you.
Pastor Paul, our scholarship director, what can you tell me about scholarships?
Well, there was, I tried to get a hold of, oh, of course, now I'm going to draw a blank, right? Blake, to talk about that, talk to me about what he's done in the past and what his feeling is about that. I am open, at least at this juncture, to what people think ought to be either requirements or because I mean, again, for me, I mean, I deal with the benevolence side of the church all the time, and I guess it's different in the sense that we get some people that have decided that the church is their once a week paycheck, and you know we know they're going, and we can't do that. But this is different. This is a one-time deal. So I'm not completely settled in my head yet as to what the requirements are in order to get a conference registration. I think that the last time we had this conversation, there was some conversation around that we could do scholarships for the conference itself, but they would have to pay for their meals. And I've really thought about that for a minute, and it occurred to me there's probably a way to do this, but I don't want anybody not to eat. And we all know that sitting down and fellowshipping together across a plate of food is really, really important. And it would seem to me that there are going to be people who are needy of a scholarship to come to the conference, but they won't eat and they won't tell us about it because there's too much pride involved.